Welcome back to Eden Zero Anime Review, episode number 22. This is reviewing the 22nd episode of Eden Zero, My Mother, the Machine. This episode delves in chapters 56 beyond. A lot of revelations related to this particular episode. We figure out why Valkyrie left Homura, and we also find out basically a secret about Madame Kunai. Yep, we can find out a secret about her. And like a lot of flashbacks that basically in this episode. The episode starts off basically with looks like the Homura, so she's looking at the cube that she was given last episode, and she has to run in a particular direction. And we get a flashback basically when she was training with Valkyrie, and she says basically was strong and protect her mentor, which it's quite nice of her. And basically, like everything is like fine, and of course she overhears people basically just poking fun of the fact that saying that possibly that Valkyrie might be a replacement by her mother, and of course she just tells the ladies she's not my mother, she's my mentor. And of course Valkyrie just runs away, and then of course they jump ahead 5 years later. Of course the first flashback is 10 years prior to the series. Next one's like 5 years later. Well, it looks like though that Homura looks like kind of the way she does now, except she's a bit younger. With a smaller chest, mind you. And then we have Homura just standing outside her place, just relaxing, or she's confronted by three guys, one of who happens to be the son of the magistrate, the local magistrate. That's the big mayor of the town. And they're like, hey, why don't you just give us your mentor? Of course, they talk about her breast size. And I'm like, with that, I'm thinking, like, is this really necessary for this guy to act this way? So, Homura is holding back a lot throughout this whole thing. She basically just not saying the fact these guys are insulting her mentor constantly. She's doing her best to hold back. And apparently off screen, she hit him. And he, like, a typical rich boy, like, oh no, you hit me. Like, one small mark, and apparently results basically a summoning to the magistrate. Says, okay, I'll drop the charge if you apologize to him. And she's like, I'm not apologizing to you. You should apologize to my mentor for insulting her. And he's like, really? You're the one who hit me. And of course, they go to fight, and then of course, everybody's dismissed. And pretty much the charges will drop automatically because even the magistrate realizes, though, that this whole thing is utterly stupid. And of course, they walk off. And then, of course, she decides. And then, of course, you have Valkyrie leaving the planet to look for Homura's actual mother. And then she runs to the Oracle. Yes, the one who the character just ran into just the previous arc. Who also happens to be the narrator of the series. And she pretty much tells them like exactly where to find her at Sun Jewel. And she goes there. She finds it pretty easily in a labor district. And of course, she had help from a man named Paul, the guy who basically Homura, or Q in present day, who was also a thief. And of course, that she basically wanted Kunai to go back to her daughter because she misses her. And instead of doing that, she decides to, like, of course, apparently then like 2 years pass by. And then we have revealed that, oh yeah, Paul reveals information to Valkyrie that Kunai, instead of going home, she decides to hook up with Baron Mordo. That's the name of the actual guy who runs the place. I'm thinking, Baron Mordo, did they name this guy after the villain from Marvel Comics? Because there is an actual character who is, in fact, with the same name, of course. And they met, and then apparently, like, not long after that she married him, she killed him and took all her money, like typical gold digger stuff. And she renamed herself from her actual name, which is basically Kornai Kusuku, to basically Madame Kornai. Yep, that's what she referred to herself as. I mean, anybody can suspect that she possibly was related to Hamor just because the fact they look very similar. Yep, and it's revealed in this episode that she is in fact the mother of Hamora. And then of course you see Hamora finish running and she finds Valkyrie. Where it turns out though that basically that Madame Kunai had sent out a bunch of these stone creatures basically to gather more stones because she's obsessed with money. And after apparently Valkyrie killed a bunch of them, after that she had basically ceased functioning, like her body remained exactly in position, basically kneeling down. And according to the army, the guy in charge, he says that he didn't want to touch the body until Mor got there, which, okay, that's pretty respectful of him. I don't know about that. I think it's a tree. Yeah, so pretty much, like, I always got to appreciate the fact he basically that he just left it exactly the way it is, and will keep protecting her. And then, of course, Hamor basically cries like any person when they see someone they really care about when they pass away. And then, of course, Shiki, still in the Battlestar clothes, decides to leave the labor district because he and Hamor basically had the college move just last episode. So apparently, he took the time to run from the labor district all the way to the Golden Palace. Yes, and somehow he managed to, like, we hear that, like, he's like someone coming like right near it, and of course, window showers and Shiki right into Madame Kunai's room with her subordinates. And it's like, which one of you is Madame Kunai? And of course, in the book, basically, in the manga, he says, which one is the Crimson Lady? I kind of get the reason why. They probably because it's kind of weird for them to say that. So, it's like, oh, I'm Madame Kunai. And of course, she says, I'm taking you to Mora, whether you like it or not. And the episode ends basically with them, like, basically, they're going to fight. Which that's going to happen. I gotta say, damn good episode. And I can't wait for the next few episodes because the next few episodes are probably going to wrap up this arc anyways. Because with this episode, there are only 9 chapters left to go for this arc. And next week, I think that Whis is probably going to get a chance to, well, let's just say, get a chance to get on the action. Yep, so yeah, that's a particular review. Oh, by the way, before I continue, does Rebecca do anything this episode? Not really, no. Surprisingly, despite the fact she's been heavily part of the series, like part of every episode, this is probably the first episode she doesn't do much of anything, surprisingly. Not even Happy. Pino easily points out, though, that Valkyrie is definitely, she confirms the fact Valkyrie is dead due to her core no longer functioning. Yep. And yeah, this kind of deals what happened with Valkyrie. And don't worry, there'll be something related to that when you finish the season up. They're probably gonna reveal that in the final episode, and hopefully when they had the final episode air, that they announce season 2. I hope so because this series is fantastic. I love it. My friend Edgar loves this series too, and he is. I don't know why he keeps starting over. Comes reviewing the anime series. I'm not really sure why. He's like he reviews it for a while, and he stops, and then he starts up again. I'm not really sure why he does that for. He's probably distracted by other things, but this anime is, from what he told me, this is the only anime he watches now. Just this one. He doesn't watch any other anime. I mean, I get the fact he probably doesn't watch One Piece, okay? I recommended to him K-State Advantage. I don't know if he checked it out yet because when I described it to him, basically, he got interested in this, so he might be checking it out soon. Okay, so that's definitely going to be this particular review. Stay tuned for next review, which is going to be a review of the newest chapter of Black Clover. That'll be next because they did release chapter today. That wasn't released last week because the writer got sick. So I'll review that chapter next, and then I'm gonna do My Hero Academia. Okay, so next video. Bye.